Testing, one, two, three. Hey Laura, welcome to the stream. Hey Corona Ken, welcome to the stream, man. Let's see, Laura has been here quite a bit lately. Let's give Laura a wrench. Welcome to the wrench team, Laura. Hey Bob Kaler, welcome to the stream. I have put out no live or no filmed content again this week. I thought about it. I've tried several different times. I was having issues with my congratulations, Laura. I was having trouble with my camera again, and it's not that there's anything wrong with my camera, it's that there's something wrong with the operator. And I just didn't get the everything didn't come together to put out more content, so I have not done it yet. Hey Big E's, welcome to the stream. Hey Daryl Dimer, welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday? It's hot and sunny here in Indiana. I have been doing a lot of checking online about what the potential issues might be in Peru when we go to Peru, and it's kind of scary, to tell you the honest truth. But the way to handle an issue like this, i.e. the poisonous, the diseases, the creatures that can do you harm when you're there. The way to handle things like this is to forearm yourself with knowledge. So I have been looking up all of the poisonous, deadly to humans. Hey Joel, welcome to the stream, man. Deadly to humans. Yeah, Laura, I have no idea about Bob. Bob seems to be less and less likely to go, but it could all turn around at the last second and Bob could be there. So I'm not going to say yay or nay about Bob, because who knows what Bob will decide to do at the last minute. I hope, if he is going, I hope he gets his plane tickets soon, or he won't be able to have any. There are over 200 species of scorpions that live in the Peru area where we will be going, or in Peru. I should probably qualify that. There are over 200 species of scorpions, and one of them in particular, the Brazilian, hey Danks, welcome to the stream, man. The Brazilian yellow scorpion is deadly to human beings. So there are many, many, many creatures out there that are potentially hazardous on an expedition like we're going on. There are thousands of species of snakes in the area, and of those thousands of species of snakes, the most dangerous to human beings, the most deadly to human beings, are the fer-de-lance, which is a incredibly fast striker and an incredibly aggressive striker. They mostly stay on the ground and hunt rodents, and usually during the fer-de-lance. And usually during the daytime, the fer-de-lance will stay hidden under logs. So if you step over a log without really paying attention to what's on the other side of it, you may well enter the striking range of a fer-de-lance. And they are noted for how fast they strike. Now, most of these creatures Snakes, in particular, that strike have a striking distance. Hey, Fish Tropic, welcome to the stream, man. And it is usually the upper part of their body, the part of the body that they raise off of the ground, is the distance that they can strike. Daryl asked, how much hard terrain will you have to walk? Is there a lot of miles to cover, or do they stay near both? Sandy riverbanks with a lot of leaf litter on them are noted for snakes, scorpions, spiders, and sand flies. So the very places that we would likely camp on a long Laura, that's an excellent question. The very places that are most likely where we would camp are also places that these creatures will find homey. It's recommended that one carry a cane of a limber but sturdy, maybe 4 foot and 5 foot in length, and to whip it around on above the leaves and in the leaves to stir up anything that might be hazardous. Also near palm trees, ants, and some of the ants are highly poisonous. They're not deadly to human beings, though. Laura, I would have to expect, now I've not talked to Michael Barber about this, but I would have to expect, considering the potential of loss of life, that they would have to carry some scattershot anti-venom product with them on the trip, just in case somebody gets struck. Now, I have not talked to Michael Barber about this specific subject, and I would very much caution anyone thinking that all the stuff that I am talking about is what we will be walking through when we're walking, until Michael Barber and Ian Fuller have explained to me what they usually encounter, what they have encountered. This is just me doing my due diligence to research. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to make this trip seem anything other than it is. None of this information will stop me in the slightest bit of going. I just want to forearm myself with the colorations of the potential snakes that we might deal with. Now, fer de lance has a pretty specific marking. It's usually a very dark snake with light brown markings on it. That's the one that I fear the most, that I worry about the most, because its striking range is larger than the amount of body that it raises up off the ground. So if that snake raises 10 inches of body, hey Valley Fish, welcome to the stream. If that snake, a fer de lance, in front of me raises 10 inches of body above the ground in an aggressive striking position, then I need to be at least 20 inches away to clear that snake from being able to strike at me. A lot of people recommend wearing some kind of armoring on the lower legs and to wear heavy boots to prevent the snake from piercing your boots or piercing your pants into your leg if it does strike. I don't think I'm going to go that far. I really don't like the idea of being in the river trying to catch fish wearing heavy leather boots. One, it'll take them forever to dry out. Two, I'll probably halfway drown trying to swim in leather boots. Another recommendation they make is rubber boots, but I'm not interested in going into a river and coming out with a gallon of water under any yeah, Corona Ken. You accept what they recommend is to not make sudden movements. That sudden movements and an obvious show of fear is the surest way to get struck. That you should meet the snake eye to eye, and that you should slowly back away. If you're carrying a wand or a cane that is limber and sturdy, you can strike at the snake before it strikes at you. You know, you've got a better reach. 4 foot is a much better reach than the snake's 20. So you've got a potential of breaking its spine before it strikes you. They say if you're carrying anything, throw it at the snake and back away. That way the snake is distracted from striking you and concerned about what's flying at it. Like if you've got a heavy shirt in your hands or some piece of equipment that you're carrying, pitch it at the snake and make the snake strike at that instead of you. So that's the fer de lance. Hey, Sergeant Tank, how's Jeremy today? The second snake that is of concern in this area is the, I think it's a gaboon pit viper, or it is very similar to the gaboon pit viper, only it is a tree snake, and it is verdantly green, a very bright green, and people get struck reaching up into trees or walking under low-hanging branches. They get struck in the hands and the arms and the face because the snake is above you. And these vipers, tree vipers, are very aggressive. They're something that will strike at you even though you don't even know they're there and you're not doing anything to them. They will strike at you anyway just because they are aggressive creatures. The only thing to forearm yourself with that is to use a wand to whack the trees, to disturb the branches, to scare the snake away, and be very observant that there is not a bright green pit viper in the tree branch right above you. So what this means is, you know, I always stress observing. Observe your fish, observe your water parameters, observe all this. This is yet again another place where observation is key. You know, I would say key to survival, but it's not quite that bad. I mean, this is an expedition that lots of people have done, and I've yet to hear of anybody being struck by a snake. But these are potential issues that you need to be aware of. You don't want to go blundering into the wild jungle without observing closely what is around you. And this is the same observation that is used to observe your fish in your tanks and how they are behaving, how they are acting, what kind of signals are they sending to you. All of this stuff is the same observation skill. You just need to transfer it with knowledge to something else, to, in this case, snakes. There are also many forms of coral snakes in the Amazon region and around Peru. So a coral snake is almost as deadly as the fer de lance, but a coral snake has a much smaller striking range because it can only raise about 3 or 4 inches of its body off the ground to add to its strike range. So you just need to be aware of what that coral snake looks like. Sneezana, welcome to the stream. If I'm not mistaken, there's more. I'm assuming that you meant more than snakes to be concerned of. Yes, I've already gone through the scorpions. I'm saving the spiders for last. And the sand flies, whatever. But yeah, you're right. There's lots of stuff to be concerned with. Joel wants to know, will I be carrying some kind of weapon or poison darts or something? And my answer to that is, I intend to either make or find a 4 or 5 foot long whip, like a cane that blind people use, that is very sturdy. Yeah, blowtorch would work. Just set fire to the jungle and dive in the river. The other kind, Daryl, I don't know about dart frogs. I don't know what kind of frogs are in the Peru area, whether Dank might be able to tell us more about if any dart frogs come from that area. I'd love to collect some dart frogs, but I doubt they'd let me bring them back. Yeah, Jeremy, I think the blowtorch is going to be a bad idea because I'd have to get within striking range of a snake to use a blowtorch to chase it off. Maybe if I had some alcohol in a bottle, I could take a bunch in my mouth and spit it across the torch on them and throw flames at them that way. That might work. But alcohol tastes nasty. The other snake that is very rarely in this region but has been seen before is the Bushmaster. And of all the snakes that we've talked about, as quick and as aggressive and as dangerous as the fer-de-lance is, hey Lumpy Dog, welcome to the stream, man. As quick and aggressive as the fer-de-lance is, the Bushmaster is the one to fear the most. It's the most like a rattlesnake. They are the second largest human deadly snakes in the world after the cobra. They've been found 15 foot long before. They are not usually that long. They're usually about 3 or 4 feet, but can go much longer. And they are one of the meanest snakes in the jungle. Now, they're more common in like plantation areas where there's lots of rodents for them to hunt and kill. And a lot of plantation workers get bitten and die every year from Bushmasters in South America. And the Bushmaster has very observable markings on it. It is a creamish, tannish, orangish color all over with a white belly and brown splotched markings all over the top of its body. And it is one of the deadliest snakes simply because of how often it is encountered. I'm not going to have nightmares. I'm telling you this stuff. I'm showing you the information that I have gathered, but it in no way impedes my desire to be there. It is very low on my list. One, I know that the guys that are running the tours have done this over and over and over again. They know what to look for. They know where they have, if they have, encountered these issues before, and so their interest is in seeing that we all survive and have a good time and want to come back. Michael Barber is not in the business of sticking people in the jungle to die. He's in the business of sticking people in the jungle to come away with some collected fish and some excellent experiences, some learning experiences about the world around them, their place in it, and the natural habitats of these fish and the dangers that the habitats themselves face. Sneezanna says, I would be more afraid of spiders, bugs, and scorpions that love tight places than snakes. Don't snakes usually move away if they feel the vibration of something big coming? And you are exactly right, Sneezanna. Snakes would much prefer to avoid you, but that doesn't always work in situations. I'm going to let Corey go first. Hey Joseph, we're talking about the dangers in Peru. I've gone through the scorpions that we might face that are deadly, and I'm working my way through the snakes we might face that are deadly. Yes, it sounds great, Joseph. I don't know if you like the idea of the itinerary that I came up with. For those of you that are not in the Go Wild Peru, yeah, I'm going to let Corey go first. Let those snakes get Corey. I don't have to be faster than a jaguar. I just have to be faster than the other guys in the team. I'm sure Corey will be hanging back, waiting to see if any of us get bit. But anyway, I wanted to go through. No thanks. I'm not picking up any rays and letting them whack me in the chest. No thank you. I hope, my best hope is to not have to step on anyone. I did see your video, Joseph. I haven't had a chance to comment on it yet, but I did see. So the Bushmaster is the snake that I am most concerned with, because that snake can raise 20 inches off the ground and then strike for another 20 inches. And so it is almost a 4-foot strike range around a Bushmaster. And that is the kind of snake that by the time you notice it, you're already in its striking range, and it is very dangerous. So I will be on my P's and Q's, watching my environment, watching the movements around you, because that is usually Joseph is worried about the plants. Now see, that's the one thing that I haven't looked up yet, is the plants that will get me. Bring snake mace. Fish tropics, I would think about doing that, but I'm more inclined to bring a small whip cane that I can use like a 4-foot piece of fishing rod that you can whip around really hard, that you can strike a snake and potentially break its back with, that you can scare a snake away with, that you can stir the leaves on the ground up. Most of the people that I have read after said that the sound, you know what the sound of a fish rod makes when you whip it really hard in the air? Better yet, bring bear mace for jaguars. Like I said, Fish Tropic, I don't have to be faster than the jaguar. I just have to be faster than Joseph or Corey or Dean or Michael or Ian. The jaguars are not a problem. Joseph says he's going to be using his monopod as a hiking stick. That's a good idea, Joseph. But they say that the sound of a whip cane being thrashed through the air right above the ground will chase away almost everything that is deadly, so that if you just whip that cane around in front of you, The only way you would really take a bad chance would be to step over a log that has a hidden viper on the underneath of the other side that you can't notice and that your cane doesn't scare away because it can't reach in there where the snake is. That's always been an issue when you are hiking anywhere, is to be very careful about stepping over a large log that could hide a snake underneath on the other side. Right. Joseph is very right. One of the best ways to deal with it is to step on the log and then jump off, because the snake's striking range, if it's under a log, is probably not going to be more than 10 or 12 inches. But if you just step over that log, you are immediately in that striking range. And this is observation. This is being aware of your environment. This is understanding the risks. This is understanding how you can arm yourself beforehand to not put yourself at risk more than you have to. I mean, this is a risk. We're getting on airplanes. Airplanes can crash and you can die from an airplane crash. That is a risk. But the risk of dying in an airplane crash is infinitely smaller than getting in your car and driving to the store is. Fish Tropic says understanding that you're the invasive species. And that's exactly true. Nothing truer could be said. We are the aliens in this environment, and we need to understand that there are things out there that, even though they are infinitely smaller than we are, that are highly deadly to us and that do not like us. Lumpy Dog says tall, thick boots with a layer of fiberglass armor. Yep, that's what literally some of the people I have read talking about this say, to strip bark from trees and to wrap that bark around your legs. Joseph says he's looking forward to the market and trying local food, local bread products too. Well, Joseph, did you see on my itinerary the great mill where I want us to stop is a bakery, and it is supposed to be one of the best restaurants in that area. You know, what type of meds will I be bringing with me? I will be bringing my diabetic metformin, my blood pressure lisinopril, my I take 2 pills that are kind of added around the diabetic stuff. One's for anyway, I'm taking four pills with me, and they are my meds that I take. We also, Joseph, will need to start taking some kind of malaria pill. We will need to take them. Lecter Records, welcome to the stream, man. And it seems impossible, but he almost stepped on a 15-foot alligator in plain sight on a wide open trail. I can believe it. Their coloration, they're designed to hide in plain sight. Their coloration is such that you really can't tell them from the background. And all creatures are adept at disguising themselves. That's the best way for them to catch food, is for their prey to not see them, to not see them waiting, to not see them coming. They all are experts at disguise. They have camouflage that is designed to make you not see them. That's why one of the key things that you have to be observant for is motion, because that's when they give themselves away. A large bag of M&Ms, just in case Corey needs to explain anything with visual aids. I loved Corey's video with the M&Ms in it. I thought that was one of the most fun explanation videos I've ever seen on YouTube. I wish he'd do more things like that. I know he has it in him, but Sneezana says to take a mosquito net to have around the bed to avoid getting stung at night. Yeah, and that leads us to the last one that I have spent time looking at. Joseph says the plants, and that could probably be a whole topic, a whole video of what potentially dangerous and poisonous plants there are. The last area is spiders, ants, and sandflies. And there are 2 spiders in that area, native to that area, that literally can kill you if you're bitten. One of them puts its front 2 legs up in the air, and its belly and its mouth are all bright red. I can't remember what the name of it is offhand, but if that spider bites you, Joseph is looking forward to going to the higher elevations. I'm not so interested in going to the higher elevations just because of what you say next. I just hope Corey is okay with serious hiking. Corey does a lot of walking when he does all of these different tours and goes to all these different countries. So he's probably going to be one of you does have a run-in with a snake or the line that would make great thumbnail. Yeah, I just don't think that unless I'm using my 200 millimeter zoom lens, that I want to take a picture of the green tree viper, you know, because I don't want to be anywhere near its striking range. So I'm not going to be using my macro lens on any of these snakes that we've talked about. Joel said that Corey's legit got a lot fitter in the last 6 months. I think that's true. I don't know how much actual running he's doing. The honest truth is, of all the people going, I'm probably going to be the one in the worst shape between smoking and me being out of work for the last 4 years. My body has basically gone. I've exchanged most of my muscle fiber for fat, which is a lot lighter, but it's not near as good. Fish Tropic asks, will you be bringing anything you can give to the locals to help them out? Yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of walking myself, Joseph. Fish Tropic, I thought about bringing money, extra money, to pass out to locals. I think I need to bring money to tip the people around camp that are helping us. The guides, I think those people need to be tipped to show them that we appreciate their use, their time, their effort to make our experience more enjoyable and easier for us. But I think that in a lot of ways it is highly arrogant of us as quote first world people, thinking that when we go to these places that are third world, that we need to give those people something to show them how bad they have it and how great we have it, because that mindset is highly offensive to the people that have been living this way of life their whole lives and have never known anything else in the sense of their way of life, as far as they are concerned, they have the better life, and we are, the proof is that we're coming from all over the world to be where they are. And so I'm not so sure that I need to be an arrogant American and pass out goodies to the locals to show them how much better. Joseph says he's afraid he's going to fall in love with a Peruvian girl and not come back. Well, I'll try to keep you out of the bordellos, Joseph. I'll do my best to keep you away from the pros, as they say. So maybe that'll make it harder to fall in love with a Peruvian girl. I'm not saying I will be able to succeed, but I'll give it my best shot anyway. My advice in that area would be to go to the Netherlands or any of the Dutch local areas, and I think you will find a much more conducive environment. And Joseph says all he needs is a good cooker, and I bet you there are plenty of them there. Joseph, while I've got you on live here, what do you think of my itinerary that I set up for the morning when we get there? After we get our night's sleep at the B&B and eat our breakfast and go to the airport, and I think Corey will be in around 9-ish, and we'll go out and hunt down Hector, or hunt down Hector when we get there, and try to agree to a price. I want to go to the Great Mill, which is supposedly the best bakery restaurant in the area. It's only about 3 minutes away from the airport by cab, and I think we should probably buy Hector some breakfast or lunch or however we do this. I want to go to Waka Garaye, which is a 3,500 to 3,800 year old U-shaped pyramid complex that is within about 10 minutes of the airport. It is very underdeveloped. It has very little work that's been done on it because basically they unearthed some multicolored stuff. Yeah, me too, Joseph. I love local bread too. And then I want to go to my idea of the itinerary was to go to the pyramid complex first. It looks like it's on the moon. It's like a hill right in the middle of town. Hey Priscilla, welcome to the stream. Lumpy Dog wants me to Google blister shield foot powder. He highly recommends it. The only problem with that is going to be when we're in the river. Foot powder is going to turn to gook in our shoes. Fish Tropic, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Look up Waka, Huaca, Garagay, Garagay. It is a newly opened up in the last, say, 10 years, 3,500 to 3,800 year old. Fish Tropics wants us to take lots of pictures of and video of the writing. There is very little to no writing on this stuff. This pyramid that I am talking about going to predates Chauvin culture in that area, which has some of the largest temples and monuments in the local 600 to 700 miles around, where they held sway back 35, 34, 2,400 years ago, before the advent of the Mayas and the Incans. This was a culture that was highly religious, that used iconography and psychotropic drugs to create metamorphosized creatures, anthropomorphized creatures that were halfway between the God realm, or whatever they saw as God realm, and them, that they used to, yes, they found lots lately, because they're really starting to look now. And a lot of this stuff has been discovered long ago, but there's just so much of it that they really haven't looked into it very deeply. Awesome, Joseph. Awesome. Joseph, how good is your Spanish? Priscilla says, I got a question. Has nothing to do with Peru. Okay, I'm closing down the live stream. We can't talk about Peru. Shoot, Priscilla, what you got? Yeah, I know bueno. I know bueno, dame tu un cigarro, and fuego. Priscilla says, well, Amazon puffers come from Peru. I got some 5 days ago. Joseph, my Spanish is poquito, very little. I know when I'm being cussed, and I know how to ask for food, and cigarettes, and a light, and to talk about work. I know all those kinds of things. It's going to be interesting to see how well I do when I'm plopped in the ground in Peru. I think everyone that is going needs to focus on their own things: plants, fish, jungle, people, and insects. Then compile all the video to Jimmy for one spectacular video. Jimmy's not getting my video. Screw Jimmy. I'm probably going to have to beg Corey for space to download some of my video and photos onto his. I'm assuming he's bringing a big save drive. So I'm probably going to have to beg Corey for space. I've got a blue ton of little 64, 32 scan discs that I'm going to use, but I'm going to need space for putting stuff down. All right. We need to focus on Priscilla's question here and help her if we can. I got 3. They are like 1.5 inches in a heavily planted 40-gallon tank. They are really active. I put in erythromycin and prazi. One of them swims in the top third and is kind of on the low. He's not really trying to get away like the others if I put my hand in. The question is, should I do something with them? Priscilla, how long have they been in the tank? How long have those fish been in the tank? You said 3 days ago? Is that what you said? Five days ago. Okay. Priscilla, yeah, he may very well be having a bad reaction to the meds. Hey KG Cichlids, welcome to the stream, man. I've been doing fine. How about you? We're trying to help Priscilla with her puffer question. Something seems to be off with him, but I can't see anything visible. Okay, Joseph, man, I'm so looking forward to this trip. And I'm really glad we're going to get a chance to be roomies and go on this adventure together, man. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's getting close. Priscilla, you might try dropping carbon in the tank. You might add some carbon pellets to the water to try to reduce the meds a little bit and see if that changes his behavior. And you might very well do one med at a time and see if the meds by themselves cause the same issue. But I would, seeing how puffers are very sensitive fish, and seeing how he is acting utterly different from the other two, then I would most likely try immediately to use carbon to get the meds out of that water. I would say put it in front of the flow, hang it off the top of the tank in a bag, and put it in front of whatever flow you have. If the only flow you have is air stones, then put it above them. And a 25% water change would also help, Priscilla. I don't think that they've been in there with the meds long enough for the meds to do their work properly. But in the case of something that is sensitive, like a puffer, and full disclosure, I have never kept a puffer, so I do not know of what I speak. I'm just going by what little bit of knowledge I have picked up along the way, and so I would highly suggest that you shop around. Okay, then Priscilla, I would put the carbon in front of the output. Nice script there, Avatar. I would warn you, Avatar, if you are a troll, that there is a veritable mod wall here, so be aware. Prazi and erythromycin is too much at once for a puffer. It can cause internal failure. Facts. In this instance, Priscilla, I would lean on what Fish Tropic is telling you. He's had a lot of experience with fish stores and with medication. I know that Corey uses a lot of prophylactic medication every time he gets a fish in. And I would talk to Corey about, did Corey recommend the Prazi and erythromycin together? Because if Corey recommended it, then he might not have had bad luck with it. Wow. So you've always used it. Well, I'm of two minds here, Priscilla. One mind says do a quick water change and get that medication out of the water using carbon. The other says do a quick water change and wait and see. KG says he would do a 75% water change. Just match the temp along with the carbon. Yeah. Okay, Priscilla, then if Corey does it, then I can't say for sure that I know one way or the other whether it is dangerous or not. I'm sure Corey would not do it if it caused him to lose a lot of fish. Corey's in the business of selling fish, and he does things that needs to keep them as sellable as possible. So yes, I would. Corey even does ick with the 3. Yeah, I know he does a lot of prophylactic medicating. And if you're getting fish in from the wild, if these fish came in recently from the wild, then yeah, they need it because they're carrying a lot of parasites which can infect other fish. They can get on your nets and in your other tanks even if you don't see them, unless you do a strict quarantining of nets and tools that never touch another tank or that are completely the disease potential or parasite potential is completely eradicated from these utensils by a dip. Then I want to I don't know, I have always been a person that tries to avoid medication as much as possible in fish tanks because I have had such bad luck with it in the past, killing my fish. Yeah, I mean, what Bob is telling you is right. Priscilla, if you have another tank that's also bare and has no medication in it, and the water parameters are the same, you could also dip that fish out of that tank, bring you more puffers. Wow. How cool would it be to actually find puffers where we're going? But Priscilla, I'm afraid we're in the southeastern part of Peru where the water comes off the Andes, and so it is much cooler there. The water is much cooler, and I don't think we're going to find puffers in that location. I can't say for a fact that there won't be. Yeah, Priscilla, if you have a 10-gallon and water to match, you could think about pulling him out of that 40 and sticking him in a tin of completely clear water. Yeah, I'm using fenbendazole flakes to feed my wife's 75-gallon rainbow tank because we cannot get rid of the issue of the parasites. They're having white stringy poop. I use the fenbendazole for 3 or 4 weeks, and boom, they've got it back again. So I'm going to set that tank on a strict regimen of being fed normal flake food for a week and then being fed fenbendazole flakes for a week. And I am hoping to finally eradicate the parasites out of that tank once and for all. Priscilla says the 40-gallon has a TDS of 180. The 10-gallon has a TDS of 220. Do you have any RO water on hand, Priscilla? I'd tell you to scoop. Bob, my wife and I loaned our microscope to someone about 7 or 8 years ago when I was dry and out of the hobby, and we never got it back again. So I do not have a microscope. I have seen, Bob, these rainbow fish have very thick white poop with brown poop wrapped around it. So they are having some of the strangest issues. Yeah, I'm just not ready to spend the money for a vet. The last time I had a vet do something, it cost me about $400 by the time it was over and done with. And the answers he gave me were, I can't really tell. And that was very, very unsatisfactory at that time. So I'm loath to go do that as well. I probably need it. I've been through the whole regime of medication. If you follow some of my live streams, just take a poop sample, will be less than $15. All right, I may try that, Bob, because you're right. I've been battling this now for 8 months and probably lost 30 rainbows. So I need to solve it in some way. I've always just trusted my own ability to recognize what's killing my fish, and I've used all kinds of water treatments. Joel says, sorry, he's not talking. He's cooking up a serious breakfast. Well, no fair, Joel. You better make enough for all of us. Cheaper to solve the cause, right? Right. This is true. They have been through every kind of treatment, from levamisole to pepper oil, right on down through the list. They've had it in there. Whenever you receive fish, you should have a tank set up for quarantine for at least a month or two. Suppressed diseases will arise under stress. Autoimmune disease is the real issue. And I agree with that. I agree. And these rainbows that I'm talking about were highly stressed because I drove 6.5 hours to Jim's house. We only had 3 bags that we could use, and it was the middle of the night. So we put like 16 very large fish in one of the large bags. And then I drove 6 hours back, and this was in the middle of winter. And even though I put them, I insulated them as best I could. KG says, did you ever try Epsom salt in the mix of the meds you use? And KG, I have thought about Epsom salts several times, and I have yet to do it because it's a 75-gallon, and I'm loath to put that much Epsom salt in a tank. Plus, before there were shrimp in this tank as well, and I did not like the idea of putting Epsom salt in a tank full of shrimp. But the rainbows cured the tank of shrimp. And all of the meds that I put in the tank cured the tank of snails as well. I put enough stuff in there to kill all the snails as well. So this tank has gone through a great deal of stress, but we finally ended up with 3 large rainbows left. And they survived everything, and they did fine for 2 months, not showing any sign of parasitic poop. And so we added the babies from the quarantine tank, and when we went to Lucas's, we got more Pracox rainbows. Bob, if you go back through my videos, you will see me talking about this issue. It is the tank with the 3 pendant lights above it. It's my wife's tank. Yeah, I went Duke Nukem on this tank. As much as I am loath to do it, I finally did go feed a buttload of de-shelled peas. The only problem with peas and rainbows is that their throats are so small that they don't really eat peas because they're way too tiny to go down their throats. Rainbows are a completely different kettle of fish from all other types of fish that I've ever tried to deal with feeding and deal with breeding issues and medication issues. And when Bob had Rachel O'Leary on his stream, I pestered her about this issue until she gave me the answer. Dwain, rainbows are notorious for not doing well with water treatments where you add stuff to the water, and instead with rainbows you have to feed them to get them Priscilla, I don't really think, I mean, you should use a dechlor. If you mean safe, then yes, do dechlor. And make sure that the water temperature is really close. Get it as close as you can. Hey, King Lee, welcome to the stream, man. How's King Lee doing this fine weekend? Rachel O'Leary, best advice that she gave me about this issue with these rainbows, which has been ongoing forever, is to feed them fenbendazole flake food. And that fenbendazole will go through their system and clear the worms or the parasites. The issue comes with the parasites that have been pooped down into the gravel that don't get vacuumed out. Then those can reinfect the fish again. So you have to run a regime. Hey Victor, welcome to the stream, man. You have to run a regime of the feed, the medicated food, so that the parasites cannot reinfect the fish. And you have to do it over a long enough period where it really cures them once and for all and kills all the ones in the tank as well. So yeah, it's an issue. All right, guys. King Lee just made it in and Victor just made it in. And now it's time to leave you. Guys, I hope that those of you that got in late, I hope that you'll go back and listen to some of this stream. I think it's a funny stream in the sense that I am potentially fear-mongering about issues that are tantamount in Heather, thank you for being here for another stream. Yes, King Lee, I go for an hour, baby. All you get is an hour of my time every week. Yes, Victor, you need to get some new BO equipment, buddy. Fish Tropic says Dwayne studies state that the best form of netting a fish is through the water column, seeing a fish absorb everything you put in the water. And that, I agree with that 100%, Fish Tropics. It's the way that I have always done it, and yet doing it that way very strictly and following all of the medication's exact requirements, it has not killed these. So I cast about searching for another way to do it, and many an older fish keeper knows that there are some kinds of fish that do better with internal medication than they do from external medication. Corona Ken, thanks for stopping by, man. And Victor, Laura, all of you guys, thank you for spending some of your valuable Saturday time with me. Priscilla, I hope that puffer comes around. I hope that the water change helps. I'd do the water change, watch him for another day, see if his behavior changes a little bit, if he starts acting more normal. If he doesn't, I would get him out of that tank and into that 10-gallon with water that's very similar. It is much easier for a fish to adjust to a slightly higher TDS than it is for them to adjust quickly to a lower TDS. So I think that that the difference of 180 in one tank to 220 in the other tank is not enough to cause serious harm. but I would go ahead and dip him out of the 40 and put him in the 10. Just make sure that you've got the parameters as closely matched as possible, and keep us abreast of what's going on with your pupper. And I'd watch the other two as well, because they may start to show signs of stress too. And it may not be the meds that are stressing them. It may be that they're hungry. It may be that they are not liking something in the water. But keep us up, and good luck. And good luck everybody with your fish. Have a great weekend. See you guys.